Is violin an expensive hobby? Keep watching to find out. If we haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher currently based in New Jersey. I've been playing the violin for over 20 years. I have my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and I'm a Suzuki trained teacher. If you're enjoying my videos, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel and check out my comprehensive learning program, Learn Violin Online, which is always linked in the description. Enrollment is opening up at the end of November, and I am capping the number of new members to make sure that everyone gets my full undivided attention. You click the link below to snag your spot on the wait list so you can be the first to access the program, plus get a special freebie when you join. So, is playing the violin an expensive hobby? Well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. The first cost associated with playing the violin is obviously getting a violin. You have two options, to rent or to buy. I always recommend renting at first, especially to true beginners, for a couple of reasons. One, if you're a true beginner, you don't really know that you're going to stick with playing the violin for the long haul. Learning to play the violin is a commitment, and despite your best intentions, it might be one that you're just not ready to make right now. It's hard to come home after a long day and have to practice. It's hard to make time for this on top of everything else you have already going on. I've had a handful of adult students that were really excited to learn. They wanted to finally do something to themselves. They wanted to either pick up the violin after many years away or start a new hobby. But in reality, they just couldn't make that commitment. They couldn't find the time to practice, couldn't add another thing on top of their already busy schedule. So if this happens to you and you do decide to quit, if you're renting an instrument, it's much easier to return. If you had bought your instrument, then either you're just out that couple $100, you let the instrument collect dust, or you try to sell it, usually at a loss. The second reason why I recommend renting is that it's more affordable than buying. High quality violins cost thousands of dollars. And I don't know about you, but I can't just shell out thousands of dollars for a hobby. You can purchase violins that are less expensive than that, but decent instruments are around the $200 to $500 range at least. Renting costs vary depending on where you are, but where I am, which is on the East Coast of the US, it's about $40 a month. Additionally, many shops will give first-time rental deals. There's a shop in my area that does like $140 for the first 10 months, which you just cannot beat. Additionally, when you're renting, you will get to play on a decent to high quality instrument instead of taking your chances on whatever you can find online. The third reason I recommend renting is that when you rent, shops are much more likely to help you out when you need it. If you're trying to learn the violin on your own, problems will inevitably arise. You might not be able to get the violin tuned. You might not be able to put on your shoulder rest. You might not be able to figure out why your bow's not working. And if you're renting an instrument, the shop has much more incentive to help you, to tune your instrument, to change your strings, to put on your tapes for you because you're their customer. So that can be very helpful, again, especially if you're trying to learn on your own. I understand that renting isn't for everybody and that there are some benefits for owning a violin as well. If you're going to purchase a violin, please do not purchase one on Amazon. There are a ton of VSOs or violin-shaped objects on there that are just not good quality and are going to make your journey harder than it needs to be. If you're going to purchase an instrument online, I highly recommend checking out Fiddler Shop. Not only do they have excellent quality violins, but they have great customer service. One of my previous students lived in Arizona and she bought a violin from Fiddler Shop, and because of the extreme heat, the violin was damaged during transit. Fiddler Shop sent her a new one, no questions asked, and even let her keep the old one. If at all possible, when buying a violin, your best bet is going to be to try some. Obviously, if you're a complete beginner, you won't be able to try them yourself, but you can go into a shop and ask for them to play a couple of them for you. That way you can hear what they sound like, you can maybe even feel them, feel their weight, their length, and make sure it's a good fit for you. I'll leave the violins that I recommend from Fiddler Shop linked down below. I would also highly caution you not to buy a violin on Facebook Marketplace. In my experience, Marketplace is full of scammers. I understand you can find good deals on there, but be very cautious. Make sure that you hear the violin being played, and make sure you have tons of pictures of it so you can make sure that it's not damaged or cracked in any way. Now that you have a violin, yay, you have to determine the method that you're going to use to learn. You have 3 options: private lessons, which can be online or in person, an online learning program, or teach yourself. Private lessons are going to be arguably the best option to learn, but also the most expensive. The benefits of in-person lessons are that your teacher can physically adjust you, meaning that they can help you with your posture by physically touching you. And you guys can play together. You can play duets, which is really helpful for pitch and rhythm. However, some of the cons of in-person lessons are that they are the most time-consuming just because you have to travel there and back. And you're limited to the teachers that are in your area, which may or may not be a good fit for you and your learning style. The benefits of online lessons are that they are much more convenient, they take less time in general because you don't have to commute. And you can take with teachers all over the world, so you can truly find the one that is the best fit for you. However, the drawbacks of online lessons are, of course, the teacher cannot physically adjust you, which in my personal experience really isn't an issue once you have, experience teaching online and you know how to use your words effectively. Also, of course, internet is never 100% reliable, but hey, neither is your car. The price of lessons depends on your location and the teacher's experience, but here in the US, the general standard is $1 per minute. So if you were taking weekly 30-minute lessons, that would be about $120 per month. Many teachers, including myself, also offer bi-weekly lessons, which are every other week, which are great for students who have a busier schedule and just need more time to implement the teacher's feedback. And of course, it's a lesser investment. The next option is to join an online learning program like Learn Violin Online. The benefits of online learning programs are flexibility and affordability. Unlike a private lesson where you have a set day and time that you meet, online learning programs are there for you 24/7. So if it's midnight, if it's 6 a.m., you can hop on and get your practice done. Online learning programs also are more affordable because they have less personal interaction. So for private lessons, you could be spending a couple $100s a month, but online learning programs like Learn Violin Online is only $35 a month. One thing that makes Learn Violin Online stand out above other online learning programs is the amount of personal attention and feedback. Members are always welcome to post videos in the community for direct feedback from me, and there's no limit to this. You could post every single day if you wanted to. This ensures that your questions are getting answered, you're getting feedback on your work, and you know exactly what you need to do to improve. The final option is, of course, to teach yourself. Now, this is going to be the cheapest option because it's free, but it definitely does have some drawbacks. You can find many beginner programs online for free, but those will only take you so far. What do you do when you've learned the basics and are looking for that next step? It's very hard to know exactly what you need to learn next or what pieces you should practice. Additionally, it's hard to get feedback and your questions answered. Even if you do seek advice from an online forum or talking to someone here online, you're going to get conflicting advice. And how much can you really trust those random people in basic groups? I don't know. In addition to your learning programs, you will also need books. Now these are relatively inexpensive. For example, the Suzuki books are about like $10 each. The other books that I use in my teaching, like for note reading and shifting, are anywhere between $10 to $15. But inside of Learn Violin Online, I've included all the sheet music for you, so you do not have to purchase any outside materials. Additionally, violins do require some maintenance to make sure that they are sounding their best. I recommend getting your bow rehaired at least once per year. The cost of this varies again just depending on your location, but for me, I pay about $90 per rehair. I also recommend changing your strings at least once per year. The strings that I use are the Peter Enfeld high strings, which are about $120 per set. My favorite for recommending for beginners are dominants because they are a little bit cheaper but still sound great. They're about $80 a set. And the cheapest strings that you can get are going to be the Diodario Prelude strings. They're about $20 a set. They're not the best, but they are very affordable. Of course, leave all of these strings linked below if you're interested as well. There could also be other accessories that you need, such as rosin, which is relatively inexpensive, like around $10. Shoulder rests, a music stand, but those are more of like one-time costs than monthly recurring charges. So in summary, your biggest cost when learning the violin is just going to be getting the violin itself. If you do choose to rent an instrument, especially when you're still in that beginning phase where you're not sure if you're going to continue, then that will drastically drastically decrease the cost of learning to play the violin. Once you have your instrument, you need to decide on your learning method. This could be up to several $100s per month for private lessons, or as little as $35 a month with Learn Violin Online. And instrument maintenance will generally cost about a couple $100s per year. What do you think? Is learning the violin an expensive hobby? Leave a comment and let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Enrollment for Learn Violin Online is opening up here at the end of November, so be sure to snag your spot on the wait list for first access to the program and a special freebie. See you next time.